Now we'll move on to Dr. Sri Anand Heblekar. He's the General Manager of Goa Forest Development Corporation. Mr. Heblekar, you occupy around, I think, corporation has got around 9,000 hectares, 6,000, yeah, out of 56,000 hectares of cashew area, we have got around more than 10 to 12% of area. So, अशें आसा की गोंयांत सुमार चडशे around 30 to 40% of Goa's area cashew are very old, they are senile, and they are low productive. So, do you feel replacing this senile plantation is very critical for both sustainability and farmers' profit or farmers' livelihood? If so, why?
Hello. Uh, we actually GFDC when I joined GFDC, we realized that was the first thing we realized is that uh, traditionally people have been visiting their cashew plantation only during harvesting.
Right.
And they don't take care of the planting. Correct. Like first thing that strikes anybody who comes and asks a question is that Tamil Nadu has got production of cashew nuts which is more than 700 kilos per hectare.
Yeah.
Whereas in Goa it is less than 400 kilos per hectare.
Yes.
What is the reason? The thing in Tamil Nadu is that they have cashew orchards which are like real plantations. They are planted in a row with proper staking, proper spacing, and it is maintained throughout the year. Whereas in Goa, it's a tree which has been existing for 30, 40 years and you are just exploiting. And you visit only for 3 months in a year when you are harvesting. So in GFDC, the first thing we did was we sent a proposal to the government for a rejuvenation, and that proposal has been approved. And last 1 2 years, we have started rejuvenating the plantations and taking care of that. So that like what Dr. Falero informed, those cares are also taken. One is that apart from replanting, we identify the trees affected by stem borers. We cut the trees and burn it on site along with the after uprooting it. So that is one thing we
That will kill the eggs
and it is kills from spreading.
Yes.
And so that plantations are required. People need to treat their cashew plantations like any other agriculture crop. You have got SOPs for all other vegetables that you grow, all other fruiting.
Yes.
But you don't have anything for cashew.
Right.
You only know when to harvest, and you currently cut the branch. These climbers which are around bushes just for collection.
You have rightly said that farmers visit cashew plantation only for cleaning during the flowering season,
Yes.
not before that. So farmers has to visit the cashew plantation to monitor, as Dr. Falero has said, to monitor cashew stem and root borer, which is a serious pest in Goa. It is going to wipe up if we are not taking immediate preventive measures. So the next question is Goa Forest Development Corporation talking about climate resilient varieties from ICR. What practical advantages to Goa selection? Dr. Falero has said to Goa for selection.
Goa, what is?
And do you have any plans to go in for Goa selection?
Yeah, we have studied about that.
Yeah.
Whatever varieties are in Vengurla 4 and all, they are more stress on the nut. They are not worried about the apple size.
Yeah.
Whereas for Goa, apple matters.
Because
And especially we find the barley variety has got a good apple size, and we don't go for grafting in GFDC. What we do is we have identified the plus trees where the apple size is big, and we collect the seeds and grow seedlings from this seed origin. And this has a big demand in the local farmers. We actually stop selling because all our seedlings get sold out. We grow around 5 lakh per nursery. We have got 3 major nurseries in Goa of the GFDC, and we grow 5 lakh seedlings every year, and we use half of that for our own plantations. half of that gets sold out in every year. So that demand for the local seed origin plant is more, especially for another reason, because the Feni industry is depending on number of flowerings in a season. We have almost three flowering flushes in what I experience. Is the first big flush is at what is called a Padwa येतात that is especially near Mahashivratri.
Yeah.
That flush is the major thing. Then you have got one flush in Puno in the month of March, and the third is in April in Akshay Tritiya. So these three give apples for the Feni industry, and they have occupation right from January, February to up to May. If you put a grafted variety, you get one big fruiting. The quantity is big, much more than the local varieties, but you finish off that in a month.
So the production of a local variety is distributed for next 2 to 3 months.
3 months, yeah.
Whereas of Bengola variety, you get over within a month.
So barley variety we find is the best suited
Local variety.
local variety. Yeah.
So what I feel, if you have identified some plus varieties which is giving good apple yield as well as nut yield, you should share those varieties with our ICAR so that they
Yeah.
can make Cashew craft and sell it to the farmers. ICAR has got good varieties, no doubt.
Yes.
But if you have selected some plus variety in a forest corporation field, I think it would be a good idea to share that knowledge with the Indian Council of Agriculture Research,
Yeah,
where they can really make a research on it, study it. That take around 5-10 years.
Yes.
Whether it is really good under various varied climatic condition in Goa itself, because climatic condition in Goa itself changes. North Goa, South Goa, Konkan, Redne, it changes.
Yes, definitely.
So my next question to you is, what role Goa forest development play in demonstrating the replanting rejuvenation model for cashew farmers in Goa? Because you said you are replanting a lot of cashew area and you have got around 7-8,000 hectares of area. So what you play to demonstrate it to your neighboring farmers?
Yeah, locally we find means there is a lot of demand for this our nursery planting, and we learn a lot from the locals themselves. All the practices that we follow are what is through experience of the local traditional farmers, because from them we learn a lot. About one thing is that we actually last year we did try getting grafts. We ourselves, our Velu's nursery and Kankire nursery, those two nurseries we raised around almost 40. The thing is that people were just going buying our other seed origin. Grafts remained unsold, and then we had to use it in our own plantations. Uh, the main reason is that, and this learning has come from the locals. So we try to raise this year. We are again trying to raise the number of seedlings in our nurseries.
So you mean there is a lot of demand for
Lot of
seedling
demand, yeah.
over
Yes,
cashew craft?
local, and people are now realizing, means replanting, planting and rejuvenation has awareness has come in this generation. Otherwise, last few years we find that people were just exploiting. And another thing, learning is that related to climate is that aeration is good. The flowering and fruiting is very good. So basically, if you maintain your plantations, remove the
Plant
weeds,
population. Plant
yeah,
population.
and the
They
weed
should
removal.
not be very dense.
Yeah, and weed removal. Main thing is weed
Weed
removal.
removal. Weed
And
removal. At the right time.
at the right time before, so that if there is wind movement,
Yeah.
there is less dew,
There is less
and then there are no tea
Correct.
mosquitoes,
Correct.
and fruiting is much better.
So that is your experience. If there is if the proper spacing is maintained,
Yes.
weeds are removed properly, the bushes
Yeah.
will regular काढले.
Yeah, if
Salad will
you
get a good yield.
take care of your plantation like you do for any other vegetable crop,
Yeah.
you'll get much more yield. So we'll see, because last 2 years we have given a lot of stress on this regarding to related to removal of the weeds, and this removal of this burning of this diseased trees, and replanting. rejuvenation. We also have done the crescent shape, this rainwater harvesting. So you take care of the plantation like as if it is a good agricultural crop. So we'll get to know the result within the next 2 years.
Good. So, पहिली session आम्ही उलयल्यार GI tag, GI tag for Feni, GI tag for nut. The GI, they are working also on GI tag for Cashew apple.
Yes.
So, in what way it will link to sustainable orchard practices and better livelihood of the farmers?
Yeah, GI tag basically, see, we got GI tag very easily because we started processing cashew nuts from last year. So
I'm talking about Cashew apple.
cashew, yeah. The thing about that is that you get a GI this if you have got a traceability.
Yes.
So if you are able to, if my penny is able to sustain from what I gather from my orchards itself, it is very easy to get a GI tag because the GI tag geographical index. So basically the traceability has to be maintained. So where the problem usually happens when there are middlemen. Like if I got a middleman supplying all the raw material for my pet, we don't know where that person is getting all the raw material from. He might be getting it from Tamil Nadu or Karnataka or Maharashtra. Then it is
Cashew
more
apple is coming
difficult.
from Maharashtra. to Goa
Maharashtra
for
also
processing.
because
Feni
they
Karpa.
don't have Feni there. So that is a waste product there. So a lot of that gets transported.
So to get a good quality Feni, as Mr.
Yeah,
Rohit said,
yeah.
Vaz has also said, we need good quality apple.
Yes.
Quality apple which is fallen down.
Mm.
So there is a need for having
Yeah.
GI tag for Cashew apple also to get a good quality
Yeah,
Feni.
yeah. Means basically you get tag for the Feni.
Yeah.
And this, like early in the inaugural session, PCCF sir had mentioned that if you have a society formed of with all the small farmers, because we, through my experience, I find that if a farmer has got very small quantity of cashew production, he finds it more economical to just dump it away and remove the seed because the transportation and collection of the apple and sending
Not
costs
economically
more. It's
viable.
not economical. But if you have got a society of cluster of around 15-20 farmers,
Yes.
all of them group together, the quantity is sizable and they can supply directly to the industry.
processor.
Yeah, processor.
Okay, my last question to you is, today youth are moving away from cashew cultivation. आमचे पारंपरिक शेतकार काणकोण हांगा दोंगरार ते सुद्दां तरणाटे काजूंची मोडले दिसना आमकां. So the question here is because and the labor is also scarce, is a labor deficient state in Goa. What strategies do you see as essential to keep cashew a viable livelihood option?
Yeah, that has been one of the stresses that Cashew Festival is trying to achieve. Like Hansel was in the previous session told about having a good remuneration for the Cashew Feni. And our one of the principal things about Cashew Fest has been that you raise the standard of your Feni. Feni quality control was not there earlier.
Correct.
And you could get a bottle of Feni for 100 rupees or for 600 rupees. And it was as a country liquor. But last few years, after the Cashew Fest, we have got more entrepreneurs coming in. They go for quality control, they bottle it and sell it. The cashew must also earn something. Not the cashew must also earn something. Not that the farmer will sell 100 rupees, the bottler will sell it for 1,000 rupees. The bottler will sell it for 1,000 rupees. The farmer has to get 500 if the bottler is selling for 1,000. So a lot of profits should go down to the farmer incentive.
Yes.
And that is already changing now because we have got so many new brands now. Sentari, Aniye, Kazu and company, all these brands which have come in the last few years, no, they pay premium to buy Feni. They buy it from the locals. They have quality control. Out of every lot of 5 barrels, they buy almost 3 or 4 get rejected if they are not standards are not maintained. So that itself is an incentive. They are paying money good money to the farmer to maintain the quality. So automatically that money goes down to the farmer and he has an incentive to be more stringent about his distillation.
So they are getting some premium price.
Yes.
So that will
That will
attract
change,
youth
definitely change. Yeah.
in the cashew cultivation and
Yes.
cashew processing
Yes.
industry. Okay, thank you, Mr. Eblikar, for your insightful
Thank
thing.
you.
Now I'll move on to Sri Mohan Girap. He is a scientist in Department of Environment and Climate Change. My first question to you is from perspective of environment and climate change. What are the major climate trends or risks that agriculture, particularly cashew cultivation, needs to prepare for in Goa?
Good afternoon. At the outset, let me thank GFTC for accepting me as a proxy to Sanjeev Zublega because he was supposed to attend because he has to attend some High Court matter. Uh, anyway, since I represent, in fact, sir, I'm scientist C from State Pollution Control Board, which is a admin department of Environment and Climate Change. Uh, you asked a very acceptable questions in the current extent context is when one say climate change, one always looks at temperature is increasing. I'm giving the global aspect first,
Right.
then I'll come to the Goan
Increasing
aspect.
temperature.
In the school or college, we have learned every action has equal and opposite reaction. When you say temperature increasing, somewhere else there has to be a temperature decrease to maintain the equilibrium. Since Goa, now come to India, since India and Goa is forms a part of tropical climate, we are already experiencing the erratic climatic conditions right from last 3 to 4 years, if you can see. Now, when I say erratic, now this is the month of April. It's very high temperature outside. So it may lead to either early onset of monsoon, I think can lead to late onset of monsoons. So when it comes to early or late onset of monsoons, the Department of IMD, I'm referring to a research article since last 10 years. It has said that rainfall has showing a slightly increasing trend since last 10 years. However, the period of rainfall, for example, we generally calculate June to June, July, August, September as the rainfall seasons. And generally we say it is equally spread all over the 4 months. But because of this climate change which is happening and we are experiencing, it is not a question that is there a climate change. We are passing through the phase of climate change. So there is a rainfall, very high rainfall for short duration. Then there is a continuous gap of dry periods. So this will possibly affect. I'm not an agriculture or horticulturist because as far as crop of cashew is main stages: pollination, flowering, correct me if I'm wrong.
You are right.
So these climate
And
change,
during these three stages, there should not be major climate change will affect the
major
production.
climate variations. Now I'll come to Goa. In Goa, majority as the first during the first technical session, one of the speakers said that the prime objective of bringing cashew in Goa is slope stabilization.
Sorry.
Yes, it is a fact because Goan, I'm basically a geologist. Goan lithology is laterite with plateau and then the slopes. So when it comes to a slope stabilization, because of laterite content, little bit of geology, the soil cover is variable along the plateau tops as well as along the hill slopes. So these erratic climatic conditions, which mandates requirement of cashew plantation to have some uniform climatic condition, either during pollination or during flowering or flowering period. So that will give you some insight to the flower that yes, something is happening and we have to do some proactive measures to eradicate this particular aspect of either pesticides, which is a requirement or not. And second thing, I just conclude is saying, when I say climate change, it's a very broad topic. There are only
Yes, Captain. But my next question to you is, so what policy support? Interdepartmental coordination is very So what policy support? Interdepartmental coordination is very, very important.
Rightly said. Rightly
Then,
said.
then climate-related program can help farmers to adapt better and reduce the risk of cashew cultivation.
Correct. You are rightly said. Although the when we say plant or cashew plantation, the General Department of Agriculture is a nodal department. The General Department of Agriculture is a nodal department.
Yes,
But it is not the department.
yes.
But it is not the duty or the prerogative giving an extension, for example, because I am not so prepared in this particular. As well as the main department which is coming, which should take a lead is Department of Environment, because this climate change, I'm not saying it's an environment department, but it's a climate change happening because of certain changes of not only one activity. It is mainly an activity which has gone beyond the carrying capacity of the nature which it can absorb. So that we have to mitigate first. And to mitigate this, all department concerned should come together and have as far as cashew doing or cashew plantation is concerned, the farmer should be made aware that there is something called as climate change in their vernacular language. They are not that, I will not say illiterate, but they are not that illiterate to know what is climate change. So basic pamphlet or brochures should be brought to notice of this
To create awareness.
to create awareness. ऐसा भी अशी जाऊ शकता. This is a possibility can happen. And the second thing, the best example would be this commercial form at a village level, some sort of self-help groups, which can create more awareness at a larger extent.
So we have to create awareness, and then we have to teach them what are the practices that we should
Yes,
farmers should adopt.
yes. Now there can be research can be also gone in a way that these climate resilient species also can be found of issues.
Yes.
I don't know how far the
There
research
are.
is gone. Because we always say organic cashews.
Hmm.
That may be susceptible to some attack from because of this climate resilient practice.
Okay. Thank you, Dr. Mohan. Can you feel that there should be coordination?
In the last budget, our honorable in the last budget, our honorable finance minister made a very far-reaching proposition, where she that for tree planting, the farmers will get money for mitigation.
When they start.
Yeah. And usually the weeding is related only to benefit them to collect the cashew. It is not to benefit the tree,
Right.
because everybody complains that there is less flowering and it is because there is not much aeration, and the weeding has not been done properly, and if there is too much humidity, so you take care of the plantation, understand it, and then wherever open spaces, gaps are there, replanting, all that means treat it like another cash crop which needs attention like any other agriculture crop. You follow a certain standard operating procedure for your, even for a seasonal crop like mirsang, chilies. You take the trouble of broadcasting the seed and then removing and replanting, because you if you after the seed origin you remove the plant and replant, you'll get a better flush of chilies. So that effort you are putting for the chilies, the same effort should be put for cashews.
So farmers
You-
should look it as a commercial.
commercial crop and give it attention, automatically the production will definitely increase, and there is already a market for it.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Heblika. To Mr. Mohan, what key action that Goa must
What
prioritize
I
as far as
think-
climate change is
Yeah,
concerned?
state of Goa has already prioritized by organizing this particular function as Goa Fest at state level. What I feel is it should happen, if not at taluka level, it can go at district level, wherein the farmers, grassrooted farmers levels can be held as a beneficiaries to understand what is the importance of this cashew as a fruit and as a crop.
So farmers should treat climate as a part of planning. Climate as a part of planning, how we treat, how we put fertilizer, pesticides. So climate should also be treated as a part of planning and not as an afterthought. Okay. Okay, thank you very much. Before we are closing now, we thank you very much for all the distinguished panelists and such sharing such a valuable insight. Today's discussion has clearly shown that future proofing of cashew cultivation in Goa will require a combination of climate awareness, जागृती हाडपाक जाय, better orchard management, बरे तरेन वेवस्थापन करपाक जाय, soil and water conservation is very, very important. Resilient planting material, as Dr. Falero and Blekar has said, the local varieties have to be promoted, climate and effective pest management. Dr. Falero has mentioned effective pest management. Prevention is better than cure. It is better to prevent than prevent. And the strong coordination between different departments, different farmers, scientists, and departments. Cashew is an important part of our agricultural and cultural landscape for generation. If we plan wisely and act in time, if we act in time, ensure that it continues to remain productive and profitable even after changing climatic condition. I thank all the panelists, organizers, and participants for participating in this technical session. If there are any queries from public, from the participants, we will take one or two questions.
I have a uh, my name is Tataguru Vasi. I have a small farm in Valpo area. Uh, I have a question to Dr. Falero. Especially what I have noticed, I am growing cashew for last many years, but particularly last 2 years, what I noticed is there's a huge flower, it's very good flowering taking place, and normally from the flowering, I used to estimate how much yield I'm going to get. But last 2 years, I fail in that. That's what I found, and the yield is not proportionate to the flowering. I'm told that bisexual flowers are less during last 2 years. But my question is whether it is possible by any this to have a remedy on this. Uh, Whether bisexual flowers can be number of bisexual flowers can be increased or anything can be done on this, because I miserably failed to estimate for last 2 years. This was not the case earlier. For looking at the flowering, I used to know the quantity of yield that I'm going to get. But last 2 years, I fail in that. So, what is your say on this, please? So this Mr. Vaze, could be a direct impact of increasing temperatures, and reduction in the pollination, So I don't know if Mr. Neville could throw light on this. I used to be told by farmers that they spray a particular nutrient, some micronutrient, to improve fruit set and fruiting. Will this help?
May, but the question here comes up as far as cashew cultivation is, cashew flowering is concerned. Cashew normally flower, our local cashew, I mean not regular, they normally flower thrice a year. I mean 3 times in a season. The first flowering, the cashew male flowers are male and bisexual flowers are less. But in the middle flowering, the bisexual flowers are more. That is during that time आम्ही म्हणता काजू भार लागलो म्हणून भरपूर काजू मिळतात. That is the middle flowering where bisexual flowers are more. And at the end, bisexual flowers are less and male flowers are more. So ती करपतात मागीर. So only thing is that during this flowering, farmers when they see the cashew flowers भरपूर फुलल्या, but it is not translating into nut set. One reason could be during, if it is a climate change, no doubt, when there is a heat during that flowering, the pollination is not taking place. Then the pollination is na. And secondly, to overcome this climate change, only issue is if the cashew gets sufficient moisture from the soil, so that flowering can be converted into nut set. So wherever irrigation facilities are there, cashew can be irrigated once they start flowering. What other way is to conserve the rain, conserve the moisture from the rain by digging trenches or by mulching or in some other way. That will help.
Yeah, regarding this, one thing is, I forgot to mention, uh, I have got three, four different varieties. I have got V4, I have got V7, I have got ICR, different varieties, about five of them. But everywhere I find same thing. Means it is not with one variety that it is happening. It's happening with all the cashew flowers. Secondly, I have got drip system in my area, and I give once in fortnight or so. I give water also to that. And other thing is flower doesn't die. Now even now, if you go about 50% flowers are still there. Even till end of this, last year I have observed that till end of April, about 15th of May, flowers were still there.
But
Flowers
it's not
doesn't dry.
not set.
Only it is nut set is not there. Is not setting. And this I am seeing last 2 years only. Before that it was not
No,
there.
no.
Actually, sir, in my experience, what I gained from the farmers is that when there is a higher temperature exceeding 32 to 33 degrees beyond that, the flowering is there, but the male flower clusters are more compared to the female. And this is offset if the nights are cooler, means, but there is no dew. If the dew is there, they again there is a it affects. But with hot day and very cold night, no, then because of that the flowering is more, but the male flowers are more. But the compared number of female flowers are less, so the fruiting is that much less.
But my question still remains unanswered. I wanted to know from Dr. Palero whether any spraying of anything or whether
That's what I was.
artificially whether
Yes.
anything is possible.
There is a spray of micronutrients that they do, and you could probably get the details from ICR. This could help, but it is a direct impact of increasing temperatures. Direct. With this micronutrients, if some fruit setting can be improved, this could be looked into.
Okay, thank you very much. Over to organizers.
We have heard valuable insights today, from scientific perspectives on climate adaptation to operational strategies for field implementation. The discussion has truly highlighted the importance of foresight and innovation in securing the future of Goa cashew industry. As a token of appreciation, may I now request Shri Updesh Kosande sir, DDA, Deputy Director of Accounts, Manager Finance and Administration of Goa Forest Development Corporation, to kindly present memento to our distinguished guest, Shri Neville Alfonso sir. Next panelist, Shri Jose Romeo Falero. Next panelist, Shri Amar Heblekar sir. Next panelist, Shri Mohan Girab sir. These mementos symbolize our gratitude for their name, expertise, and contribution to this important dialogue. We thank each of you for sharing your knowledge and for inspiring us to think ahead toward a climate resilient cashew future. With this, we conclude the technical session for day one of Cashew Feast 2026. I invite all the participants to join us this evening for Cultural Evening, where we celebrate Goa's rich heritage